Good evening, East Bay. Ah, I want to thank everybody for coming out and all the extra work. Um, I hadn't realized that it wasn't people necessarily coming in on Wednesday. So I didn't even let Reverend Derica know that I was going to be in the area till like a week or so ago. I wasn't exactly sure what my schedule was going to be, so for all of the extra effort, I want to say thank you. And to all of you that are out there Zooming or YouTubing or whatever it is that you're doing, we feel you. We feel your spirit right in here with us. So I'm going to ask everybody just take a breath. You find me do that from time to time. Just take a breath. There's a lot going on. There's a whole lot going on. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how to hold space for all of that. You know, I get these downloads, and there are a couple of volumes called Letters from the Infinite. I'm actually going to share a little passage with you from The Sacred Yes, which was the first volume. And it's the reference point for the things that I want to share with you tonight. There's a letter called Personal Truth and Spiritual Truth. Personal truth and spiritual truth. See, the fact is that we have both. We have both. Your personal truth is your personality. That's your experiences, what you've gone through, your attitudes, your opinions, your relationships, your job, all that kind of stuff. That's your personal truth. But that's not the end all be all to the story. You also have a spiritual truth. And your spiritual truth is transcendent of all of your personal truth. I want you to really catch this, because I know a lot of times in metaphysics, we get accused of being in denial. We get accused of being Pollyannish when we're talking about our spiritual truth, especially if your personal truth is not mirroring your spiritual truth. Say, well, how can you say that I'm healthy when you see me sick in this bed? I'm in the hospital. You know, how can you go and say that I'm whole and complete? You can see I'm broken down. What do you mean I'm prosperous? You know I'm broke. You know, like whatever that is. You know what I'm talking about, that we go through all of that. But listen, your spiritual truth, just breathe this in for a moment. Not only is it transcendent of all of that, okay, it doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't care from the standpoint of it showing up any differently, doing anything any differently, being any less than, withdrawing, retracting. It is aware of, and that great spiritual truth of yours will express itself in, through, and as you uniquely. Okay? Listen to what I'm saying. So, there's never been another you. Never going to be another you. So when the great I am is expressing, when it comes through you, it's going to be like you. It's going to walk the way you walk. It's going to sing the way you sing, smile the way you smile, love the way that you love. But it's not limited to that. You can always love more. You can always walk another way. You can always show up differently. See, it'll express through you exactly the way that you are, but it's always going to be calling you up and out, not to get comfy. We get into that, well, this is just me. This is just me. And that becomes our excuse to not see more, not do more, not care more, not grow. Regardless of whatever it is that's gone on with you, it has not happened to the spiritual you. This is why you can do recovery. This is why you can be the survivor of something. There's something within you that's never been raped. There's something within you that's never had cancer. There's something within you that's never been an alcoholic. See? And you can't snuff that out. But we get so busy identifying with our personality and all the things that we've done or haven't done, that in our minds, that's the totality of who we are. But the great I am of your being is saying, I am more than this. I am more than this, and I don't care. I don't care what you've done, what you haven't done. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. I don't care how many mistakes you've made. I don't care. I am that I am, and the I am of your being is going to express in, through, and most especially as you. So when Spirit's trying to tell us that we are great and magnificent, we're going, oh, no, I'm not. It's blasphemy. Let that sink in for a moment. When you're denigrating yourself, when you are downplaying yourself, when your opinion of yourself you put above the opinion that God has of you as being a child of God, that's blasphemy. Let that just sink in for a second. Whose opinion means more? Whose opinion means more? The great I am is just waiting for you to show up. The great I am is just waiting for you to say yes. It's just waiting. The moment you fall on your knees, literally or metaphorically, it will never tell you no. It's never going to tell you no. That's not how the universe works. If you never danced a day in your life, and you suddenly decide at 92 you're going to do a jig, the universe isn't going to go, oh, please. You can't dance. You haven't danced in 92 years. We're not going to start dancing now. That's not the way the universe works. If you sing opera your whole life and suddenly you want to sing the blues, the universe is going, you can't sing the blues. You can be shut down. You could be a hater. You could have been a gangbanger. You could have been anything. The universe is not going to go, you messed up too much. That's not how it goes. If you look in Scripture, some of the most prominent characters were murderers. Moses was a murderer. I know not everybody knows like all the Bible stories, but some people are familiar with the fact that Moses was told to like go back. He had to go back to Egypt. and say, let my people go. The reason why he got out of Egypt is because he murdered somebody. He killed an Egyptian guard for whooping up on Jews. And he got out of Dodge. He went to the land of Midian, married Jethro's daughter, a black woman, mind you, and was living a good old life when he got the call. So it says he hears this voice, and this voice is telling him to take off your shoes, you're on holy ground. Now, interesting, we call it the burning bush, but that really isn't necessarily so correct. It was a bush that was a flame that was not being consumed by the flame. Okay? So it was a glow, but it really wasn't burning. That was what was miraculous about it, is nothing was being burnt. It was just on fire. Okay? And he hears the voice calling him. Voice is calling him. Voice is telling him, you got to go back. What does he say? No. Just like most of us. No, I can't. And he's just like excuse after excuse after excuse. And one of the things that's interesting to me about that story, in this difference between our personal truth and our spiritual truth, we have this idea of Moses as, we see Charlton Heston in the old, movie, and, let my people go. And Moses stuttered. Moses couldn't have said, let my people go if he wanted to. He couldn't even do it. So when he's like, but I stutter. And the response back is, I'll send your brother. I'll send Aaron. He can do the talking. I want you to feel what I'm saying here, that your person, whatever you've got going on that makes you think that you're not enough or that you can't do it, if there's a spiritual truth, if there's something that's for you or something that, God will make a way. God didn't send the burning bush to the wrong person. God knows exactly what you have or what you don't have and will compensate for that, I guess is what I'll say. Will compensate for that. You don't have to play small. You don't have to get into the I can't or what. Moses was a murderer. David, the biggest person in all Jewish history. David was a murderer. And I mean, like, cold-blooded murder. David was the David of David and Goliath. David was the little shepherd boy who became king. Biggest Jewish monarch of all history. He was never actually supposed to be king. David liked the ladies. And David coveted one of his general's wives, Bathsheba, and got her pregnant, while her husband, Uriah, was out fighting. So he's really worried. He's really worried that she's going to get stoned to death. So he pulls his army back in. And he tries to get Bathsheba back with her husband. So maybe we can pass this pregnancy off like it's his. But he's so loyal, he sleeps out in the streets with his men. Well, there goes that plan. So David sets him up. David tells the other people who are fighting with Uriah, leave him out there alone, which they did. That's cold. Do that to your own general. And the baby died in about 6 weeks. And he was devastated. Absolutely devastated. And that's when he wrote the infamous, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." They go on to have another son, Solomon. Goes on about their business. But what I'm telling you is that even what you think is the most unthinkable, like stuff that's like really, really low, it doesn't exempt you from God's grace. That the great you that's within you is bigger than all of that. Am I saying that you can just do anything and that there's no consequences? No. But what I'm saying is that what you do doesn't have the last word. It's not the whole story. We know that. Your credit report ain't the whole story of you. Your doctor's report is not the whole story of you. Your family tree is not the whole story of you. And we can't do anything on the collective level we can't do on the personal level. There's drama going on, and then there's the spiritual truth. There's famine and wars and folks killing each other and popo shooting folks and drug addicted, all of that. And then there's the spiritual truth. So sometimes we can't see that God is God because we're so wrapped up in the news. And we're so wrapped up in the stuff that's going on. So we're doing to the outer world what we're doing to ourselves, which is allowing the so-called facts to eclipse our view of the divine. We've got to have the capacity to do both. I remember when I was practitioner training a long time ago, we were taught that you see people for all they can be and you meet them where they are. You see them for all they can be and you meet them where they are. Try this at home. Try this at home. And you need the balance between the two. Let's just say you're child rearing, for example. That sometimes we're so goal-oriented for the kids that we're missing their childhood. You know, we're so busy worried about what they're going to do in college and do this and blah, 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 blah. And you know, they're 6. You know, they're 16. It's like, meet them there. And other times, you know, you just want to strangle them. It's like, oh my God, if that boy does another thing, you know, if my daughter does one more thing, and we're so busy looking at what they've done, we're missing their majesty. We do that with our partners. We do it with ourselves. We do it with our coworkers. Can you hold that balance? you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what's going on in somebody's heart or somebody's mind. The human body can only do so many things. So we'll get sick if we're holding things in and denying. If you're not dealing with stuff, you get sick. But if you are dealing and you're cleansing and purging, you'll get sick there too. We cry when we're happy, and we cry when we're sad. Because there's just like only so many things a human being can do. So don't judge. Don't get all holier than thou. Well, you know, if they really were a practitioner, they wouldn't be manifesting this right now. Like, they wouldn't be sick, or they wouldn't be this or that. Cut it out. Don't even go there. You don't know what anybody has to do for their healing, their growth, their benefit. I could see metaphysician now, you know, telling Jesus, what was there in your consciousness that you got up on a cross? What kind of Jesus are you? And you manifested that? Everybody got their journey. And you have your journey. Don't do that to other people, and don't do it to yourself. How spiritual could I be? I wouldn't be going through this thing. We get an imposter feeling sometimes of well, gee, if people really knew, would they still love me? If people really knew, would they like me? You know, if people really know, and you know, it's an existential thing that so many people do that. It's not like just one person or another person, but this idea that somehow if people knew more about me, it would work against me. And we wind up in our relationship with God the same way that we did with the authority figures in our life. So whatever your mama, daddy issues are, that's what we do with God. If we think they weren't around and they weren't available, it's hard for us to trust God to be around or available. If we think that they were always trying to force us to do something that we didn't want to do, we're afraid God's going to like have something in mind for us to do like that we don't want to do. It's like we're playing out all those dramas with the divine. And just as so many people don't want to tell their parents their truth, you get accustomed to hiding. Like it says in the Sacred Yes, there's one line in there, I love that. It says, in trying to keep people in line, you keep them in lying. Trying to keep them in line, you keep them into lying. But as long as you're hiding, as long as you're living in shame or any of that, you're making yourself less available for spirit. All that stuff you went through, Spirit's going to use it. Going to use it for your unique ministry. The abuses, the addictions, the incarcerations, the bankruptcies, the evictions, the divorces, like whatever the illnesses, like whatever that is, Spirit is going to use it. And we're trying to hide it. We're trying to disassociate from it. But you have a testimony. And there's a way that you're going to be able to reach people in a way that somebody else couldn't. Okay? Think about it now. The people that you really admire out there in the world, they've been through some stuff. They've been through some stuff. And you love them and appreciate them more because of the stuff that they've gone through. Because of the poverty. You know, because of the deprivation or whatever that was. And then they become inspirational, yes? Well, it's the same way with you. It's the same way with you. There's this image that'll come up in my letters of a diamond. It says how we're all diamonds in the rough. And that every time you come up against an issue, it's like, and you work through it, it's like you put a cut on the diamond, like a facet. And as we're working through life, I really believe that all of us have an issue or two that are like ours for life. So we just keep coming up against that one. Whatever. Not enoughness, betrayal, whatever it is. Keep coming up against it. We keep coming up against it. And that becomes like one of our number one excuses for why we can't be the magnificent one that God can use. Okay. But every time we come up against that, and you're like from this angle, and this angle, and this angle, and that angle, so every time we do that, it puts another cut. And it says the diamonds that shine the brightest are the ones with the most cuts. The diamonds that shine the brightest are the ones with the most facets. Because they let the color in. And it's like this rainbow. This rainbow that happens. In fact, I was just joking with somebody about this yesterday. Growing up, both my mother and my grandmother, my dad's mother in LA, had those lamps that had these long, like teardrop kind of prisms thing, that go all the way around. And I used to treat it like it was a musical instrument. And like, yeah, like that. Oh my God, Deborah. But they'd swing, and they'd just do like this and this and this. And so it would make rainbows, like all over the walls and whatnot. It was just, wow, that was just like the coolest thing, like in the world. And so I have that image, locked in my mind of do the cuts and let the light in so that your diamond can shine. Let the light in that your diamond can shine. There is nothing that you've done that is so awful. There is nothing so important that you haven't done that ruins your potentiality or that makes you any less spiritual. Nothing. Nothing. We take, when we're doing it to other people, it's judgment and blame. When it comes inward, we make it guilt and shame. But judgment and blame, guilt and shame, they just get in the way. So this is where I'm asking you to have the big and. Not gloss over it, not pretend like it's not there. Just don't give it the last word. It's this paradox where we have to feel, deal, heal. We have to own our truth so that we can work with it, not be blind with it, know how to step it aside so that the divine can use us. Okay? So we have to confess our hearts. We have to be willing to say, this is where I am, because you can't move from someplace that you're not. See, this is the problem we have with the nation. It's like until you can say, we've been racist. You can't move. You can't move from someplace where you're not standing. So as long as we have this wholesale thing that that's not the truth of who we are or what it is that we've been doing, then we can't go anywhere. So this is the problem that we have at the larger level, is this same thing that I'm talking about now, where you have people who are talking about the larger spiritual truth of the nation. All of our potentiality and all of our power and all of the beauty and all of the rest of that. And because it doesn't line up with our past and what we've actually done, they don't have the capacity to hold both. So they don't have the capacity to look at the dark past and claim the bright future. So we're duking it out with people on both sides. So you've got these people, we don't want to feel uncomfortable. We'll just change the textbooks. We'll just rewrite history. Better yet, how about we don't even have the textbooks, okay? Then we don't even have to worry about it. You know, no, we're not going to look at all of that because it taints our perception of our possibility and who we are. Are you with me? And then we got other people that say, well, that's all we are. That's all we've ever been. Let's just burn the sucker down. No, there actually is. We can rise above. But you know what I'm saying? We can't do it as a nation or a world if we can't do it in here. Get what I'm saying? So when you get mad at them people at the news for being all in denial, and ask yourself, what are you doing in your life? Are you being that way? Are you not wanting to take accounting of your own life? Just saying. Because the more compassion that we can have for ourselves as human beings, the more compassion that we can stand in that great and. It makes us, we can breathe more. We can do stuff right where we are. I'm going to share something with you from the book, but I'm getting a flash. I do prison outreach. And for whatever reason, it's always been in male prisons, like 20-something years. And one in particular, we've done most of our stuff in, called Pleasant Valley State Prison. And I was in there at this one particular time, and there was this guy who he had the it factor. Just everything. This Latino dude, his name was Giovanni. And handsome. And I'm gay. But he was like, dang, fine. And he was playing the guitar. And I don't even know where everybody was at this moment, because it's rare to have times where it's just like one-on-one, but it was just one-on-one. And I just got this feeling. I says, you got any drums around here and whatnot? And sure enough, in a little closet, there was like a couple of congas. And I just started playing some beats underneath him while he was playing. And he was telling me his story. He said that he didn't sing. Beautiful, beautiful voice, beautiful guitar. He said he did not sing or play the guitar until he went to prison. And that he'd been going in and out since he was 15. He looked like he's probably 35 or something like that. He was telling me the story about somebody else who had asked Giovanni to teach him how to play the guitar. He said, I don't know, man, I just taught myself. He said, well, teach me what you taught yourself. And the guy got out, and he was doing really well, cracked into the music business, and gave word to Giovanni, whenever you get out, I got a label that's ready to listen to you and stuff. So I was listening to him talk, and I said, you know, I don't ever want to see you in here again. You get out, I don't want to see you in here. And he said, you ain't got to worry about that. And he didn't stop playing. He was just strumming. And he looked at me with this big grin, and he said, I know why the cage bird sings. And before he left the room, I said, can I have your autograph? I said, because I want to say, I knew you'd win. See, bars, prison, that can't stop you from doing what you're supposed to do or being who you're supposed to be. He could have been self-condemnating. He said, I'm in prison. What gives me the right to sing or to play the guitar? He's like, no, I know why the cage bird sings. I'm just going to share a little something from it for you. This is the Sacred Yes. And I mentioned there was this letter, personal truth and spiritual truth. And something just said to share this little bit with you. It's the very end of the letter. And I apologize that we ran out of books the last time. I have books, and I have books to leave, and all the books are signed, so yeah. My bad. So this is the end of the letter, and it's kind of wrapping up this stuff that I'm talking about. It says, you are afraid that if you tell too much of your truth, it won't be a good thing. However, it's just the opposite. Throw open the cupboard doors. Open the drawers. Throw up the window shades. Draw back the curtains. Open up the windows. Lift up the carpets. Take the latches off the basement. And open up the doors to the attic. Just as you find all of these places in a physical house, you have all of them in your emotional house. Understand what each one signifies and what it needs. When you let the light of truth in, all things work together for good. Oh, there may be the momentary upheaval. Oh, there may be the momentary gnawing and gnashing of teeth. There may be drama aplenty. But just remember that after the storm is the rainbow. The clouds are just passing by and passing through. When you weather through the storm, a great victory occurs in your own self. You come through on the other side, chastened, but confirmed. The next time go around won't be so scary. Every time you face the demons in your mind and are willing to confront other people with the truth of what is really going on with you, what is really going on with you, at your deepest level, you create a space and an opportunity to win. And you will always win, regardless of what it looks like in the short term. Trust me. Trust the process. I know it's a really big thing to ask you as human beings to trust the process. But when you don't, my children, you get in the way. When you don't trust the process, then all of your actions to try to control it are counterproductive. You wind up being at cross purposes with your own selves. Is there any place that I would lead you to that would not be a good place for you to go? Is there anything that I would ask you to do that by doing it, you would lose? Is there anything about you that could be so bad or so awful that you would no longer be beautiful in my sight? Is there anybody or anything, love, affection, attention, acceptance, appreciation, commitment, anything so important that you would rather sacrifice your chance to be the all that you can be in spirit just to have it? Is there anybody's approval that means more to you than mine? Is there anybody that you would get closer to, be closer to, not be separate from, more than me? Who would you be closer to? What would you be closer to? Is there anything or anybody that you don't want to be separated from more than me? What would you rather have as your truth in this life other than your real truth? What are you clinging to? And how sacred can it be? Telling the truth is your road to freedom. Telling the truth is your road to having an intimate relationship with me. Telling the truth is your road to forgiveness and to being forgiven. Telling the truth is your road to reconciliation and to harmony. Telling the truth is the road that opens up the energetic channels for the good which you seek to find, and vice versa. Telling the truth is so important. Just try it. Just try it. Try it with what you consider to be the small things. And work yourself up to the big things, the larger things. There's no big or small in my eyesight, only in yours. Let yourself win. Let yourself heal. Let yourself have an intimate relationship with me. Oh, there is so much awaiting us. Dance with me. And if not with me, won't you just free yourself from your own shackles and dance? Even if I am not your incentive, when the shackles are free and you are dancing, you will be dancing in me. Let's take a breath. Let's just take this to prayer real quick. We just say yes. It feels like this whole message has just been a prayer. We don't even need to be redundant. We just give our wholehearted consent. We say yes. And this yes that we have in our own heart, this is a yes we bless everyone with, all over the world. We don't lose sight of the fact that everybody's a spiritual being. Every life is of value. Every life deserves a chance to live. Every life deserves to be free. Food, clothing, shelter, housing, education, belonging. Everything that's our basic humanity. We know the highest truth. Nothing obliterates that. So we call it forth. We call it forth. Even in the midst, we are not fooled. We are not confused by what we see with the so-called facts. We call forth the peace in the eye of the storm. We call forth the healing in the midst of the diseased body. Just dis-ease. We bring in that ease. We call it forth. We call forth the harmony. Even in the midst of the estrangement, we call forth the clarity lurking in the midst of the confusion. We call forth the compassion hiding behind hardened hearts. We call forth the abundance, the sufficiency, the enoughness. Call it forth. And we stand in it. We bless this great ministry here at East Bay. We bless communities all over the world. Peace. Be still. Pray for clean air, clean water. Pachamama Earth, the Mother Gaia, nature, she's calling out. And we hear the call. Peace be still. Peace be still. And we will care for you like we are your sons and daughters. This is our prayer. We get out of the way. We allow it to be, and so it is. Amen. And amen. Amen. Turn it back over to the right reverend.
Reverend Deborah Johnson. I saw many people taking notes. That's how it is. When the teacher is here, the students appear. So I saw you, I was with you. Don't be mad if there's a few quotes there on Sunday. What a powerful teaching, and as Reverend Deborah said, she brought her books. Thank you so much for that. So if you didn't get one last time, they're here, they're signed. And if you're not here in person with us, when you come on Sunday, they will be here at our newly located bookstore in Plenty, and so please come and get the word signed by the wordsmith. And so this is our time for gracious giving. And I just want to thank, this is how God just shows up. I was back there like, okay, I got to get the offering together. And Boxinette walks in the door. I'm like, Box, will you do the offering? He's like, of course. I'm like, okay, great. So it's our time for gracious giving. And I just want to say how grateful I am for your generosity. This community has been really showing up in amazing ways. Some of you just give automatically, some of you give automatically, and then you show up and you give again. And just your time last Saturday for the cleanup, a couple of weeks ago for the walk. There's just so much good that's happening here, and I'm supremely grateful for it all. So if you have an opportunity to give tonight, the basket is coming around. I believe you can still give online in like 5,000 ways. I can't keep up with them all. QR code, text, Zelle, all the good things. So we just want to honor you because your gifts make possible a lot of the work that we do for service. I see Reverend Oni here, who is super busy getting all manner of things together for this holiday season. We will have a Thanksgiving service here for those of you who don't have a place or just want to come and be with your church family as a place. We have warm clothing that we're preparing for folks in the community. We're always doing our Faces Food Pantry. Reverend Ona and her Abundant Blessings are out there doing work that blesses folks who are without homes right now. We are doing our holiday adoption for families. So Reverend Ona's like, don't forget holiday adoption. So we're adopting families, so we look forward to our community always shows up in a really big way for that. And I saw the prison ministry was meeting, our Beacon of Light prison ministry was meeting earlier. They have concluded their letter writing campaign, so our folks who are incarcerated really have had a chance to hear from us as a church community. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about giving. It's just being in the flow, whether it's the energy of money or the energy of service or the energy of your time, tithes, and talents. So we're going to bring that. Thank you, Boxinette. Just come on up here so I can just pray in your presence. Some people just feel like a prayer when you're just right next to them. So come on, Box. Oh. We just bless these gifts. The heart, the hands of the givers, the community that is a recipient of this energy of love, this energy of peace, of support, of kindness, of generosity, the clarity that Reverend Deborah spoke of, that we are one. And that is the spiritual truth, regardless of appearances, regardless of where your home is or is not, regardless of what kind of condition this world has created as your personal truth. Our truth is that we are here to be the presence of God. So I just bless this offering as it multiplies and runs over, giving thanks for it and for each and every one of us. And so it is. All right. I think we have a few announcements. Nope, we don't have announcements. We are ready to close. What else did I forget? Anything? All right. So I want to thank you for being with us online. Thank you for your patience as we worked out Zoom. And thank you. Can we give another big round of applause for Reverend Deborah Johnson? I love the way we show up as a community. Looking forward to seeing all of you on Sunday. And thank you for being here. Good night. Safe journey and blessings to your homes.
Power on. Bluetooth is connected.
Okay, love you, honey.
Hi, today in front of me iPad for 4th generation, and